This is a 3x3. No, it's not cube-shaped like the traditional version, but it is functionally identical. It is the exact same number of pieces that move around in exactly the same way, and let me prove it to you. So we'll take a piece out of this cube, we'll take a piece out of this puzzle, and we will swap them around. So put that back into there, and put the 3x3 piece into this. As you can see, the 3x3 works just as normal, and this puzzle, which is called a Mastermorphix, also turns just fine. In fact, this demonstration actually gives you a really good idea of how the pieces on the Mastermorphix translate to those on a 3x3. If we line them up like this, you can kind of see that 3x3 grid pattern on the top of this puzzle. So we have 1 colored edge pieces, we have 3 colored and 1 colored corner pieces, and we have 2 colored center pieces. So I hope I've convinced you that the Mastermorphix really is just a shape mod of a 3x3. You can kind of imagine this cubic shape being kind of morphed around. You kind of cut off the corners in such a way that it becomes this shape that only has 4 sides and 4 colors. Anyway, I made this video not just to talk about the 3x3 Morphix. I made it because this concept of a Morphix turning a cubic puzzle into a tetrahedron has actually been expanded all the way up to a 7x7, and that's what we're going to be taking a look at today. So let's just see what we have inside of this package. This is a 4x4 Morphix after the 3x3. This is a 5x5 Morphix. Let's see, way back here we have the 6x6 Morphix, and finally we have the 7x7 Morphix. So I have a whole bunch of puzzles to unbox. Of course, I got these all at thecubicle.com. Be sure and use discount code Z3Cubing if you want to buy any of these puzzles or anything else from thecubicle.com for 5% off your order. Alright, rapid fire unboxing time. Now you may have noticed that all of these puzzles are actually Shangshao brand. They really have been pushing the boundaries recently when it comes to like higher order collectible puzzles. So they've made all these Morphix puzzles all the way up to a 7x7. In terms of normal cubic puzzles, they've gone all the way up to a 15x15, including the first 12x12 and first 14x14. And they've made a whole bunch of cool dodecahedral Minx puzzles as well, all the way up to an Examinx. So Shangshao is like the ultimate company right now for collectors who like getting complete sets of these cool higher order puzzles like this. So just taking a look at these 4 new puzzles, it looks like each of them is about the same shape as the original 3x3 Mastermorphix, which again came out many years ago now, and each one just gets a little bit bigger from there, just like you'd expect. Now it looks like the biggest thing that did change along the way is the colors. So if we just look at this, the yellow is almost exactly the same, but the blue is a lot lighter. Same thing with the red and the green on the newer ones. So yeah, it doesn't quite match the old one. Maybe they'll come out with a new 3x3 Mastermorphix to match all of their newer Morphix puzzles. But still, I'm really glad to have the complete Shangshao set. This is really awesome just to look at here. So I guess we should move these out of the way and do some first turns. Just give my thoughts on each one of these new puzzles. But be sure and stick around because I'm definitely going to be scrambling these puzzles up later and it is going to look amazing. I might even do a full time-lapse solve of them in the video. Just wait and see. So I imagine the turning is going to be good, but not like spectacular. So let's go ahead and see. Alright, so it is rather smooth. It actually feels a lot like the original 3x3 Mastermorphix. It's not crazy fast, it's not super crazy high performance, like you don't have crazy corner cutting or anything, but you don't really want that in a shape mod because the pieces are all so different and fragile that it could kind of like fly apart if it were too fast, and yeah, it's nice and controllable. It feels like it would be nice and just fine for casual solving, which is exactly what you'd want to do on this puzzle. And by the way, the 4x4 version is called the Megamorphix. So we have the 3x3 Mastermorphix, the 4x4 Megamorphix, and next up we have the 5x5 Gigamorphix. So actually this one is really cool looking. Let's go ahead and do some turning. Yeah, it feels just like the last one. In fact, it actually feels like it turns a little bit better. Yeah, we have some decent performance in this 5x5 here. Actually, there is a slight difference to the shape of this one. It's a little bit more rounded than the 3x3 or the 4x4. It's a little bit closer to a cube or even like a ball than the normal tetrahedron shape that it's supposed to be. You don't have as much of like a sharp edge where the two colors come together. A little bit more rounded. But moving on to the 6x6, it looks like we actually switched back to the less rounded shape and more like a tetrahedron shape, more like the 3x3 and the 4x4. So it looks like the 5x5 is kind of an exception, but it's not really that big of a deal. But yeah, this one is incredibly smooth and it feels like you have slightly above average corner cutting and everything on here too, but it still is very solid. So yeah, I definitely am a fan of the 6x6, a very cool looking puzzle and just very large, kind of hard to hold in your hand, just a little bit awkward, but that's what you get with the 6x6 Morphix. This is a 7x7 Morphix. Neither of these have cool names. It's just 6x6 and 7x7. And this one as well also feels actually pretty similar to the 6x6. I guess not quite as smooth, but maybe it just has less lube than the last one. It feels maybe a tiny bit tighter, but still the performance of it seems amazing. I mean, for a Mastermorphix, you really can't ask for more than this. I mean, as long as it doesn't pop, you're gonna have a really fun time solving this one. And I think I have made up my mind. I definitely do want to solve all of these puzzles on camera to finish off this video. So be sure and wait around for that. It's gonna be one epic time lapse. So yeah, overall I'd say all these puzzles turned better than I expected, especially these higher ordered ones. The 4x4 is probably the one that turns the worst out of all of them, but still it is pretty good. Now there is one big question that you guys may be asking, where is the 2x2? Now Shengshou does actually make a 2x2 version of the Morphix. It's called the Pure Morphix, but somehow I only just figured out about that like an hour ago, so I haven't had time to buy one yet. Fortunately, I do have a Pure Morphix. It is a little bit different though, it's actually spiky. This is a Qi version of the Pure Morphix, but it'll do just fine in place of the pillowed Shengshou one for now. Oh, and one more quick thing, if you want to buy any or all of the Shengshou Morphix puzzles, their prices are $7, $8, $14, $17, $28, and $32 respectively, which are actually pretty good prices. It may sound like a lot, but you can actually get all of these for less than $100, which I think is a pretty good deal. You used to have to pay like hundreds and hundreds of dollars if you wanted to get just one of these handmade. And of course, the links to all of these will be down in the description. Make sure and get them at thecubicle.com and use discount code Z3Cubing to get 5% off while you're there. Alright, finally it's time to scramble these all up and do one epic 2x2 through 7x7 Morphix relay, perhaps the first one ever to be done in the world. I do want to start by scrambling the 7x7 just because I think it's going to look so cool. So let's just start it off on camera here by doing some random turns. Of course it is a little bit easier to get everything lined up when you only do 180-degree turns because you kind of have everything in the same shape always, but then we can of course start doing some 90-degree turns and it won't mess anything up, but it will start to look a lot crazier and be a lot harder to turn and get everything aligned. Of course, the puzzle itself turns just fine. It's just really hard to get everything lined up. So yeah, let's just keep on doing this and see how crazy it can get. Oh my gosh, that is ridiculous and amazing. Just look at how scrambled this thing is. Look at like how tiny that corner piece is compared to the pieces around it, and like look at how big this corner piece sticks out around all these other pieces. That is crazy. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the 6x6, and then of course we will get started with our relay.